Hello everyone. Today I'm going to do a comparison between the pre-war 711 switches and the newer 072 switches. And the 711, just so everybody knows, is also the pre-war precursor to the modern day 072 switches. I came across 3 sets of boxed 711 switches, and I'm going to use those on my layout and remove my modern ones. The modern ones, they work fine unless you are using the early post-war or pre-war trains, as the flying shoes get caught in the switch mechanism and they usually snap off or cause the train to pop up and derail, where the pre-war versions do not do that. So what I find unique about these is they have the outer box, the insert, and the inner boxes for the switch controllers. So we'll go ahead and open the box. So once you open the box and pull out the insert, this is what you get for the pair of switches. Each one is inside and held in place by the insert. This is your 711 pre-war switch. Differences between the post-war is this is all die-cast. Also, the switch controllers are die-cast. And what you'll see on the switch itself, on the original ones from the early 30s, you have these 2 rails, and these are not grounded. That way you can have the rollers go over the track and it won't short out when it hits these. So these are completely isolated from the ground. The bases on the 711 switches are also die cast. So it's no sheet metal or plastic. It's all die cast workings. All of the 711s use screw-in bulbs, and we'll put this aside for a second. So also in the box, you'll have 2 more boxes. These boxes contain the switches, the lanterns, the bulbs, and the instructions. The switches, like I said, for the pre-war 711 switches come with roughly 12 feet of wire. These have been rewired. I do have some of the original, but the original wire is also 3 conductor wire, and it's like a 1/4 inch thick with a very thick insulation. It's pretty rare to even have that pliable. It's kind of like the old transformer cords. They get brittle with age, and that happens in the majority of them. I do have 2 sets of originals that are still flexible, but everything's die cast, even the handles. That's in comparison to the newer ones, which are all plastic with the metal handles. When they were originally designed, the switches were only powered by track voltage. So for making them more user-friendly, you can alter these. And what I've done in preparation for that is I cut the track lead. There's 1 wire off the mechanism that comes and feeds to the coil. That happens to be this wire here that I cut off and isolated it, so I can direct wire these to my constant voltage, so I can run these switches at 16 volts, and they're a lot more reliable and a lot smoother than the newer ones made today. Now, with all that being said, there were 2 versions of the 711 switches. So what we have here, like I pointed out, we have metal insulated sections for the wheels to ride on when they're making the turns. The later versions of the 711, the mechanisms and all that stuff remained the same, but they replaced those wire rails with a screw down plastic insert that was similar to what we have on today's switches. But again, It's the way the spacing is over here that allows the sliding shoes to get caught. So the 7-Elevens are much more reliable and don't give you as many problems. Of course, that comes with a price, and 072 switches, looking at them used, you can probably get them for $90 a switch, whereas a working 7-Eleven switch will probably run you about $150. So they want twice the amount on the collectability side. Now, the ones with the inserts here, those are I think 35, or 38, 1938, when they made this change for that. The other change that they did is they did allow for the constant voltage, so the later 7-Elevens will have the cutout for the constant voltage plug. Now, this particular switch has been altered in a couple of ways, and it's just another way that you can still modernize the old stuff if you've got the patience and the ability to do so. All of the 7-Elevens, the switch covers, were die cast, and even the later ones with the voltage cutout were of die cast metal. This one was missing the cover, and it is still interchangeable with any of the modern switches. So you can use an 022 switch cover and the screws will still light up. And the difference between them is obviously this one's made of plastic, and the pre-war ones will not have the Lionel logo stamped on them. So this one here, like I said, had the cutout for the voltage plug, and then this one was altered for the anti-derailing feature. So what you do if you want to do that, and it's relatively easy on the way these are, because you can see how these are made. The spacing, the frame doesn't go all the way to the end of the switch, so you have some exposed rails to work with. So you just cut the one rail here and you put it right back in with a isolating pin, and that takes care of that side. And the same thing is done over here, where you're cutting this one and putting in the plastic pin again. Now that will give you the automatic function, and you'd be good to go. Then I'm going to pick this up a second. I have the screw motor dismounted so you can see what's going on here. So you add another wire, solder a wire onto those two pieces, and run that back up to the mechanism. And right here you're running the one wire for the straight section, and you make the connection here, which connects to that solder point, and the other one is right here, which connects to the upper, which is right there. So when you mount the switches, that's how you get your automatic functioning, connecting that wire to those pieces right there. For those that aren't good with soldering or trying to run that wire, you can also just direct solder a wire from here and run it on the outside directly to those. But this is a very neat way of doing it, but it can be accomplished in other ways with running wires in different locations. So that's the two differences, and I was just amazed that you can still come across these boxes. To me, it was worth the money to buy them just because of these boxes. That's a little bit of history you don't ever get to see, and inner and outer and inserts. It's a happy day. Hope you enjoyed the little tutorial, and look forward to making another video. Have a good day.